Tensions escalated in the North Atlantic as the U.S. military executed a seizure of the Russian-flagged tanker Marinera. The Russian Foreign Ministry immediately responded, demanding that the United States ensure humane treatment for the crew members on board. This vessel, formerly known as the Bella I, was accused of attempting to violate strict U.S. sanctions regulations. Moscow stated they are closely monitoring the situation and insist on respecting the legal rights of all Russian citizens. Russian officials emphasized that the U.S. must not hinder the sailors' ability to return to their homeland safely. Russia strongly criticized the U.S. action of pursuing the ship from distant international waters as unreasonable and illegal. The Russian Ministry of Transport declared that using force against a legally registered ship violates the law of the sea. They argued firmly that freedom of navigation must be absolutely respected in any international waters across the globe. The oil tanker had been issued a temporary permit to fly the Russian flag starting from December 24th last year. Communication signals with the ship were completely cut off immediately after U.S. naval forces raided the vessel's deck. In a surprising development, the UK Ministry of Defense officially confirmed that they participated in supporting this operation. The Royal Navy and Royal Air Force coordinated closely with the U.S. military to intercept the tanker Marinera. The dramatic pursuit extended all the way from the warm Caribbean waters to the freezing North Atlantic Ocean. Currently, the vessel remains under the strict control of the U.S. Coast Guard after military forces withdrew. The UK revealed they provided planned operational support specifically in the strategic area around the Iceland Gap. The British support tanker RFA Tide Surge worked side by side with U.S. military assets throughout the interception process. From high above, British Air Forces provided crucial surveillance data to ensure the success of the interception campaign. UK Defense Secretary John Healey praised the professional skills of the soldiers involved in this highly sensitive incident. He affirmed that this action is part of a global effort to crack down on sanction evasion behaviors. The UK accused the ship of belonging to a Russia-Iran axis designed specifically to circumvent international laws. The U.S. Justice Department has made a significant adjustment regarding its official classification of the cartel, the Los Sols. They no longer consider it to be a traditional drug cartel with a strict, hierarchical command structure. Instead, it is now defined as a widespread system of patronage and a deep-rooted culture of corruption. This complex network operates by fueling itself with illicit cash flows generated from international drug trafficking activities. High-ranking government officials and military officers in Venezuela are accused of being key links in this system. However, Washington maintains its serious accusations against President Nicolas Maduro regarding his involvement in these illegal activities. Maduro is still viewed by the U.S. as the leader who bears responsibility for this state-sponsored criminality. The term Cartel de los Sols actually originated from Venezuelan journalism reports back in the early 1990s. It was initially used to refer to corrupt military generals who were involved in drug trafficking scandals. The Trump administration previously utilized this concept to maximize political pressure on the Venezuelan government regime. The U.S. Treasury Department even went as far as listing it as a designated international terrorist organization. This adjustment in definition indicates a more cautious and precise legal approach from the United States authorities. In another major development, Donald Trump claimed to have destroyed a significant facility within Venezuelan territory. This bold statement comes as the United States intensifies its campaigns to exert pressure on Maduro. He described the target as a coastal location used as a departure point for drug smuggling ships. A massive explosion reportedly occurred at the dock area, completely wiping out the facility in question. However, Trump refused to confirm if the CIA or the U.S. military were directly responsible for it. He kept the identity of the operational force secret, but emphasized the devastating effectiveness of the attack. The Venezuelan government has not yet released any official confirmation regarding this serious incident or the damage. The international community is raising many questions about the authenticity and the actual scale of this attack. Life in Venezuela is slowly returning to a rhythm, but with a heavy sense of hesitation. The usually bustling streets and shops remain quieter than usual following the recent military movements. By the morning of January 5th, daily activities have begun to restart in many places across the country. However, the people remain in shock after the military campaign that shook the capital, Caracas. Citizens are mentally preparing themselves for a prolonged period of political and economic instability. Political tension remains high following President Trump's announcement about temporary administrative control. He warned of further military intervention if the interim government fails to cooperate during the transition. In supermarkets, contrary to the usual panic buying, the number of customers is surprisingly low. Store manager Rosendo Linares explained they had to open to avoid losing fresh food inventory. Yet, customers are only stopping by briefly to purchase essential items before quickly leaving. The atmosphere is starkly different from the chaotic scenes of hoarding scene in previous weekends. In Maracaibo, the country's second-largest city, the impact is felt even more strongly on the streets. It is estimated that more than one-third of taxi and bus drivers have chosen to stay home. They cite a severe lack of customers and lingering fears about security as the main reasons. Marielle Urdaneta, a 41-year-old taxi driver, described the current mood as peace and tension. She admits that despite the fear, she has no choice but to go out and work. The pressure to earn a living and put food on the table outweighs the fear of danger. This sentiment reflects the difficult reality facing millions of Venezuelans during this ongoing crisis. As the dust settles, the nation waits with bated breath to see what the future holds. The combination of geopolitical pressure and internal struggle continues to define daily life here.